The central thesis is that things that look ridiculous usually end up being, not all of them, but some of them, the big progress usually happens there. And the reason for that is because people are creative. If you think hyper-rationally and try and build the biggest idea, it doesn't tend to work. There's very little evidence that hyper-rational spreadsheet kind of thinking gets to the next big idea or creates big economic value. And so my thesis is that, you know, that playground, that toy or peripheral area seems to be super fascinating, and all the big economic gain, all the big creative ideas come in that space, and therefore you should play in that space. Macroeconomics suggests that we need to be very efficient in our creative process. And having run an agency for 5 years, I know firsthand that trying to measure creatives via spreadsheets, via detailed KPIs, via logging hours doesn't produce the best results, because those constraints are hyper-rational and they don't allow you to play. You've got a lot of pressure to deliver. What you need is this playground, this area to play, and that's why you see a lot of creatives in the old days, and I think they came up with some of the better thinking. We've definitely had a drought recently, and I think that's because of the macroeconomics. But what used to happen is the creatives used to look like they were playing around. They sit on beanbags, throw balls at each other, talk, and it didn't look productive to the CFO, for instance. But unfortunately, that's where progress happens, and so it's very difficult. It's kind of antithetical to how we see running a good business is, which is being super efficient. But I would argue that you need to have a massive amount of trust in the people and let them play, and that's where the good stuff comes. You have to let them play, and trying to build a construct for that, framework, a modus operandi for that is critical to being successful in the agency world. Artificial intelligence is going to change the creative space. We just don't know how. So machine learning and robots are building movies and doing art by themselves. There is no human input. And there is this one test done where this machine learning computer or machine learning robot was able to produce some abstract art that was indiscernible from other very high profile artists. Now that's early days, and you could argue that that's kind of easy because it's abstract, but computers can do replicas of real life better than humans. So, and then you need to ask yourself, well, what is the idea behind that? Perhaps there's no idea. Perhaps it's just simulating brushstrokes from previous artists. So the gap or the debate is, can machines teach themselves how to do stuff? Yes, absolutely. Can machines have creative ideas that usually are not linear and hyper-rational? That remains to be seen. There's some experiments that are looking like they may be able to, which is kind of scary. Intuitively, I find that that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. It's going to require a cognition at an emotional level. And there was a survey done by all the top AI guys around the world, the top 100 AI people in the space, and they were asked to predict when will emotional cognition happen, and the response was between 20 and 100 years. So they just don't know. There needs to be some step change and some innovation that we just don't have sight of yet. So I think this industry is still safe for now.